Alright, guys, we're back here for the last part of the chapter 3.1, okay, on Cuba. Alright, and here we are. We have looked at why Cuba is important, and last lesson we looked at Castro's policies, right? Land reform law, sugar, excuse me, Cuban sugar quota, okay, and he also was friends with Khrushchev, okay. So, what are we going to look at today? What is the American reaction? Okay, the Americans will certainly react to Castro. Remember, previously we talked about how they're very hostile, right? Okay, and then the Cuban decision to turn communist. Why did Castro decide to ally himself with the USSR? That is what we have to look at. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin. So here we see a word which is very familiar to us. It is escalating. Okay, and remember when we are talking about escalating, we are talking about a worsening and increasing, right? Okay, and you can see it right here from economic, and we will move into military. How do I know it's military? Okay, I know the content, but it is also an invasion, right? Operation Mongoose Basis, basically a kind of a assassination. Okay, so if you look at the notes that you have, which are here, we will be here. Okay, so A plus B equals to C. That is what we are looking at. Okay, so back to the slides. Let's have a look at the first one. Okay, so by now, this is the story, right? The overview. By June 1959, the Americans are saying, hey, Castro is an issue. Okay, I think we need to undermine him. We need to retain control of Cuba. So they think that Castro's leadership needs to be, shall we say, adjusted. Okay. So we already know that Castro's economic policies was not favorable to the USA. And so if you look at the first point, it says that the USA wanted Castro to change his economic policy. So what he does is that he refuses to process Soviet oil. Okay, so this is how it goes. If I am Cuba, okay, and this is the USSR, okay, I sell you sugar, you sell me crude oil. Okay, now crude oil is great, but you can't just use crude oil. So if I'm what Castro does is that he sells crude oil or whatever else it is, and then they give you processed or refined oil, which you can use in whatever industries you are working on. Okay, and so what the USA does is that they decide, nope, I am not going to process your oil anymore. Okay, this is supposed to pressure Cuba. Why? Because without oil, okay, here's how this negative influence works. Without oil, many things can't run. Okay, your machines can't run, your transport cannot run, so on and so forth. Okay, so basically the USA is trying to squeeze the Cuban economy lah. Okay, shall we say this is economic blackmail? Okay. So Castro must do something about it, right? Let's have a look at what he does. Castro fights back. He nationalizes. What is nationalizing? Nationalize means to switch control, switch ownership, okay, to the nation. So if I nationalize something, it means that now my country owns this business. Okay. So what is the problem with this? If I go up to an American business, let's say I have an American business, and he has the US flag lah. Okay. And where's the money going? It is going to the USA, right? But if I remove it, okay, I don't know what's the Cuban flag, and I put Cuba, the money then doesn't go to the USA anymore, it goes to Cuba. What does it mean? It means that USA is losing money, right? That is how we get this threatened American interest in Cuba. Okay, please go and look at the textbook. I put the textbook there, it's not for fun. Okay. And so the USA will respond. They will embargo Cuba. Embargo means I ban trading. Okay. except for food and medicine. Okay, that was why Cuban cigars were so highly regarded, because Americans couldn't get Cuban cigars because of the embargo. Okay, if I'm not wrong, the embargo has already been lifted, but quite recently. Okay, so what is the trend that we see here? We see an increasing economic tension, right? From I don't want to trade with you to I nationalize to I embargo. Okay, these are all actions which indicate an increasing tension. Okay. And what did the Americans do? So they imagine, okay, I'm going to force Cuba to listen to me, right? But if you look at it, sort of backfired, because if you look at the second point here, Cuba started selling to the Warsaw Pact instead, the communist bloc, and all the more the Americans they all but confirmed that Cuba would become would tend more towards the communists. Okay. So what is the impact? The impact is that Cuba becomes more closely aligned to the communist bloc. Okay, and he carries on. So let's think, I'm the Americans. I tried to pressure Cuba. I couldn't do it, so I must take further action. We know that from economic action, if I escalate any further, it means that I need to use a bit of force, right? Okay, so here, the USA uses to use even more direct means. This means military operations. Okay, the Bay of Pigs invasion refers to a military invasion. Operation Mongoose is the assassination. So what is this? Okay, what is the Bay of Pigs? The Bay of Pigs is called that because the area that was being invaded is called the Bay of Pigs. Okay, so who are these Cuban exiles? Basically, these are the people who were kicked out by the Cuban Revolution. Okay, so they're quite sympathetic towards the USA. I mean, the USA is sympathetic towards them. Okay, and so what the Americans do is that they take these guys who were kicked out of Cuba because they are anti-Castro, right? They take these Cubans and they train them and they equip them and they provide them with weapons, so on and so forth. And then they send these Cubans back into the country to overthrow Castro. Okay, of course, this is all because they want to replace Castro with a government sympathetic to American interests. Okay, it's not like they have nothing better to do. They think they are fighting for freedom. No, they are fighting for their own interests. Okay, but Cuba knew about this, and so it wasn't very effective. And we know, if you look at this, the US says we will not invade Cuba, but they did. Okay, yes, American troops didn't invade Cuba, but the Bay of Pigs, while yes, it is not an American invasion, but it is motivated, okay, by the Americans, right? So obviously, if I'm Castro, what am I going to think? Okay. So even the USA denies anything, that makes it even worse, right? I can't trust them at all. That is what Castro is thinking. Okay. And so again, ironically, the USA is trying to get Castro out of power. But if you look at the first point, it says Castro was able to solidify his position in Cuba, which means that he became like a hero. And all the more the people didn't like the Americans because they knew that the Americans were the one behind the Bay of Pigs. Okay? And furthermore, Castro starts to think, hey, this American invasion is a problem. Okay, I need to protect myself. What do you think is he going to do? So my invasion doesn't work. What am I going to do if I'm the USA? They tried to assassinate Castro. Now, this sounds like some James Bond stuff, but it is true. Okay? And it is a failure, but it just proves how the lengths to which the Americans will go in order to remove Castro from power. Okay? And so, what is going to happen? If you look at, sorry, my bad. If you look at this American reaction, right? American aggression, it will force Castro to react. Why? If I'm Castro and you try to assassinate me and you try to launch an invasion, okay? All I can believe is that one day, you are going to actually launch a land invasion of me, okay? And so I need to look for an ally, okay? So imagine this is me. And maybe this is Cathy lah. Okay, and then this one is Okay, let me populate it with some characters. Let's have another K person. Okay, this is Kairos. This is Kenneth. Okay, I just come up with one. Kairos is a superpower. Okay, Kenneth also superpower. If then Kairos come and aggro me. Who do I go and look for help? Do I go and look to Catty for help? No, Catty smaller size than Kairos. Sure lose. So who must I go and look for? I must look for Kenneth lah. Why? Because only Kenneth the power level is 9,000. Okay, Kairos also power level 9,000. If my power level is 5 and Catty power level, okay, 4 lah. Okay? Cannot win what? Right? 4 plus 5 is smaller than 9,000. But if I got 9,000 plus 5, okay lah, then I got more than 9,000 lah, so I can win lah, right? Wow, math. Which is exactly what is going on here. Okay, I need an ally, and the only ally, if my enemy is the USA, then who can I turn to? I only can turn to the Soviet Union. Why? Because only a superpower can counter a superpower. Okay, I say again, only a superpower can counter a superpower, which is what is going on here. That is why Castro declares himself to be communist. Okay, only when I declare myself to be communist, then the USSR is going to help me. Okay, so if we look at it, actually, what is the trend? Let's put it here. American interest in Cuba. So in the end point is Castro becomes communist, right? Why did he turn communist? Because he he needs an alliance with the USSR. Why does he need alliance from the USSR? Needs protection from USA. Okay, why does he need protection from USA? Because of US aggression. Okay, so you can work backwards. This is how you build your cause and effect diagrams when you are revising. Okay, this is how to do it. Okay, so what's the end point? The end point of the whole of chapter 3.1 is that Cuba is now communist. And remember, what is the problem with Cuba being communist? It is now there is a little red dot. Okay, if I will... Where is it? Here. Cuba, this whole area is blue. But now, this is red. And that is a problem because then it is a threat to the American sphere of influence. Okay? So that is the setting for the Cuban Missile Crisis, how the tensions even came to be in the first place. Okay? So have a look, review the whole thing before you move on to 3.2. Okay?